Welcome back. Pennsylvania Congressman Pat Meehan is not running for re-election in the Delaware County area, but numerous people are coming in to put their names in the hat. Do you think there's a front runner who's emerging, somebody that you like?
Not who I like particularly, but there has to be a front runner, the man with the most cash. Rich Laser seems to have monopolized this, particularly that congressional district, in terms of the cash. I've heard rumors of 3.5 in an independent expenditure with 1.5 on the campaign side. That dramatically outdistances them from any of the competition, particularly if there's 10, 11, 12, 14 candidates.
And now with the more Democratic leaning demographics there because of gerrymandering changing up the map, there will be a change, don't you think?
I agree. I mean, I think he summed up the analysis as succinctly as he could. But I agree. The person with the money wins in elections, and because you have more name recognition, because you can spend more on ads, and it's going to be a sprint between now and, what is it, 3-month sprint. Yeah. You can't raise more money if you already have a $4 million war chest.
But the unfortunate thing is now that the district has been redefined, it's not a competitive district anymore. So the race now is only between Democrats. And it really should be, I think that the district was better served before when you had a real race. You may disagree, but you know, there was a race between a Republican and a Democrat before. So now it's just an internal race, and it's the kind of the gerrymandering and the judicial mandering that the Supreme Court did has now changed that to being a +13, which means it's virtually unwinnable by a Republican.
Yeah, but which
is unfortunate.
I still love to see a Republican get in that race. When you have a new district, you have an opportunity to introduce yourself to the constituents, and everybody is new for this district.
All right, let's talk about gun control. And Senator Pat Toomey had a bipartisan gun bill that he's proposing, although he did take some heat, even in an off-the-cuff way, from President Trump. And let's listen to what the president had to say in a meeting with Senator Toomey.
We didn't address it, Mr. President. Look, I think
why? Because you're afraid of the NRA, right?
That comment came because there was a similar bit of gun legislation that was proposed in 2012 with Senator Toomey, and it did not pass. It did not also include lowering or raising the gun ability to buy guns from 18 to 21 at the time, and now they're trying for that. What did you make of it?
Yes, no good deed goes unpunished. So Pat Toomey tried once, he wants to try again, and the president was playing to the cameras. He's got this tendency to be snarky off the cuff, and then circled back and to say, hey, by the way, we're fine, right? I didn't mean it, or I didn't mean to imply whatever I said clearly. Listen, Pat Toomey sincerely tried with Joe Manchin. He tried sincerely. They did not succeed once. He'll try again, but it was sincere, and it would have been impactful in some way. The problem is, Monica, we are stuck at zero-sum games, where we're either going to wind up arguing for the confiscation of not just a class of weapons, but even more than people think, or on the other hand, we just keep on not doing anything.
I disagree, Ed. It's not a zero-sum game. We're not.
It has been.
We're not asking for the guns to be removed, the Second Amendment to be reversed. We're just talking about common sense gun legislation. We're not taking the cars away. People can still drive, but you still have to go get a license. You have to make sure you have insurance, and you're responsible if you kill somebody with your car. Get your car inspected. Some common sense gun measures. If we can't get that, that's not a zero-sum one or the other. It's right in the middle. We need to treat guns like we treat our cars.
And for the record, Senator Toomey says he has not received money from the NRA since 2010, so he's not afraid of any pushback from them.
You had to come back.
He may not be, but I think as is often the case with President Trump, when he speaks off the flip, he's oftentimes very accurate. And there are any number of senators and members of Congress who are deathly afraid of the NRA and their impact in their districts, and will not, under any circumstances, even with the most reasonable policies, go against what the NRA has asked them to do. I mean, this issue, and I've actually been able to address this issue to President Trump, this issue of gun violence should be raised to the public health crisis it deserves to be. And we're not just talking about when crazy people go into schools and shoot them up. We're talking about the hundreds of people who are shot dead in these streets of Philadelphia every single year without really a systemic policy to address those issues.
Monica, I think that Senator Toomey really should be applauded here. Yep. The fact that he is doing this in a bipartisan effort with another Democratic senator is something that we just have not seen in a long time. And after that remark by President Trump, there was a story that was written this morning that said President Trump called Pat Toomey to say, I support your bill. And Senator Toomey has always looked at getting things done by saying, if there's this is all we agree on, then get it done.
Right.
Don't throw in a whole
That's
bunch
the
of
point.
stuff into a bill that's going to make it fail. Let's just agree on this. And I think Democrats and Republicans do agree with his bill. So I'm optimistic.
probably
I think
the
the
same
American
thing.
public
Common
all
sense.
agrees
We are.
that too many
Common
people are
sense.
dying at the hands of guns and that we need to do something about it. And I haven't seen Congress, even in bipartisan way, do something to the level that it needs to be
By
addressed.
the way, the failures of the Broward County Sheriff's Office in this. The FBI failed, Broward County failed,
A whole
the
other
school
story.
failed.
Absolutely.
And instead, all of the attention is on access to guns for people who acquire them legally. You have, to AJ's point, you have to do both.
All right, we're going to bring up a quick last topic. The opioid crisis, of course, is onerous throughout the country. Camden County has filed a lawsuit against Big Pharma. We have time for one comment. What do you make of it? Is this the beginning of something big?
I think so. Look, I think we all know somebody, either a family member or a neighbor or somebody you know who is suffering from opioid addiction. It is no longer just a side drug issue. Grandmothers to all races, everybody has it. Somebody's responsible. We're the most drugged country in the world. Pharma companies, doctors, we're all responsible for this. And I think now, finally, we're waking up to probably the largest drug epidemic in our history.
All right, we're going to have Inside Stories of the Week. Take a break and be right back. Stick around.